The Toronto Raptors were definitely taking Jalen Suggs 4th overall in the NBA draft, or so everyone thought. But Toronto shook up the draft and altered their future by opting instead for a 6'9" defensive stopper with a flair for playmaking from Florida State. So here's how Scottie Barnes is making waves.
Can't finish. Harassed is Barnes. Oh, step ready. And Barnes with a straightaway three. Oh, yeah. And now the doubters who said he couldn't shoot.
Scott Wayne Barnes Jr. was born on August 1st, 2001 in West Palm Beach, Florida. Barnes had described his upbringing as quote-unquote pretty hard. His family moved around often, and his mother and father eventually began drifting apart in the process. Meanwhile, Barnes drifted towards the basketball court at a young age. He and his older brother began playing basketball in the 3rd grade at Salvation Army, and then, eventually, started playing in the AAA AAU circuits where Barnes got to travel outside of the state. During one game, Barnes was noticed by Wellington Wolves AAU coach John Simpson, who eventually took Barnes in, making sure he had 3 meals a day and trained with him before school. Simpson became a father figure for Barnes, and still is to this day. By the time Barnes entered Cardinal Newman High School in West Palm Beach, he was starting to tap into his potential. He earned All-Area Second Team and All-American honors after leading Newman to a 19-8 record in his freshman year. He transferred to NSU University School in Fort Lauderdale, where he wound up being teammates with Vernon Carey Jr., now a center with the Charlotte Hornets. In their 2 seasons together, Barnes and Carey led NSU to a 63-7 record and back-to-back 5A state titles. The year after, Barnes won a gold medal with the United States at the 2017 FIBA Under-16 Americas Championships. Barnes really showcased his talent in this tournament, including dropping 20 points and 6 steals in the semifinals against Argentina in Argentina. He actually credits the U16 championship as the tipping point of him realizing his potential in basketball.
Me being on the USA team U16, it really just changed so many different things. It was just like a life-opening experience where it was just like, wow, this is crazy. Winning the gold medal with Team USA, that's another big dream in my life.
On August 5th, 2019, Barnes announced that he would join Montverde Academy for his senior season, joining top recruits Cade Cunningham, Moses Moody, and Day'Ron Sharpe. It's probably one of the best high school teams ever. Barnes averaged 11, 6, and 5, helping Montverde to a 25-0 record with an average margin of victory of 39 points per game. You could imagine it didn't take too long for the college offer letters to come in. In the end, Barnes chose to stay close to home and join the Florida State Seminoles program that had produced 3 lottery picks in the last 5 drafts: Pat Williams, Devin Vassell, and Jonathan Isaac. In his freshman year, Barnes stood at 6'9" with the same wingspan as Giannis Antetokounmpo. In his 1 season at FSU, he started 7 of their 24 games and averaged 10.3 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals. Not eye-popping numbers, but the talent was evident.
Pittsburgh trailing. Johnson, nothing doing. Barnes takes it up and in and a foul.
He earned the ACC Freshman of the Year, ACC Sixth Man of the Year, and 3rd-team All-ACC, and is undoubtedly one of the best defensive prospects in his draft class. And that's where the Toronto Raptors, who aren't your conventional lottery team, come in. After a season away from home that was riddled with injuries and health and safety protocols, a Raptors team led by Kyle Lowry, Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, and OG Anunoby ended up finishing with the 12th best record in the Eastern Conference, despite finishing with the 2nd best record in the entire league the season prior. They eventually jumped from the 8th spot in the lottery to number 4, and it seemed like a lock that they'd land Suggs, with Lowry, the greatest Raptor in franchise history, most likely moving on from the team in free agency. After all, Suggs had a lot of Lowry-esque qualities about him, and the transition from one hard-nosed point guard to another would be somewhat seamless. The Raptors picked Barnes instead, but why? Barnes' numbers in college weren't staggering by any means, but his impact on the court was undeniable. He had a high motor and energy, often seen clapping and dancing on the court. He uplifted his teammates and even at a young age knew how to impact winning. On defense, Barnes is a great communicator. Just listen to this clip of him talking about communicating on defense to ESPN's Mike Schmitz.
Your communication, like you're always pointing, you're always talking, and that's been developed over time?
I would just say that's just someone I've always been. Trying to be a big communicator, and just trying to do stuff on defense and offense to try to facilitate the game, just put ourselves in the best position.
His long arms and basketball IQ made him a terror in passing lanes, and he became a nightmare as an on-ball defender as well, where he used his combination of size and length to deter drives to the basket and poke the ball out of opposing point guards' hands. He can guard multiple positions, and while saying that he can guard 1 to 5 is probably a stretch, he's definitely the type of defender that can hold his own against multiple different archetypes in the league. Defensively, Barnes should mesh really well with the Raptors' already terrifying defensive nucleus of Siakam, Anunoby, and Van Vliet, especially with tactician Nick Nurse at the helm. The defensive end is where Barnes also generates a lot of his offense from as well. At FSU, Barnes would create transition opportunities for his team by getting a block or steal and pushing it for a fast break bucket. Barnes shows off his knack for playmaking on these fast break opportunities where he can throw full court passes, find cutters, and create an opportunity for an open shot.
Clears the rebound for FSU. No look, underneath, and the layup.
Barnes' playmaking ability isn't limited to the transition. Even in half-court settings, he's able to be a connector, initiating offense on secondary actions. He even played point guard for a good portion of his freshman year, which could suggest the Raptors see him as their point guard moving forward, but that's getting ahead of ourselves. Outside of playmaking, Barnes' offensive game needs work. He's not a good shooter. He shot 27% from behind the arc in college on 2 attempts per game, and he can't really create his own shots yet. It's not a lost cause though. Barnes showed as much in his summer league debut, dropping 18 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists, including this 3.
Scottie Barnes from straightaway 3. Oh yeah! And now the doubters who said he couldn't shoot.
Offensively is where Barnes fit with the Raptors is, to put it nicely, intriguing. He plays the conventional position Siakam or Anunoby would play for Toronto, which has led to some believing Barnes' selection means the Raptors are looking to move on from Siakam. But the Raptors drafted Barnes with a long-term vision in mind of positionless basketball, with players like Siakam, Barnes, and Anunoby as the archetypes. At least that's how GM Bobby Webster sees it.
As we all see and we all know, the positionlessness of the NBA now. I don't think you can have too many, these big two-way wings. So I think from a positional standpoint, we don't really see it as any overlap. We see it as, let's have all 5 guys look like him and OG and Pascal and all of that.
While the selection shocked many, including Raptors fans themselves, there is no doubt that Barnes is the exact type of player who can thrive in the Raptors' proven development system. From Siakam to Anunoby to Van Vliet, the Raptors' training and development staff has found ways to optimize many underrated prospects and turn them into All-NBA or All-Star caliber players. And none of those guys were top 5 picks, which means Barnes' ceiling could be even higher than that. And the Raptors may have just made the right call.